Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We're going to have a fantastic day today, aren't we, ladies?
We are. Absolutely.
I am joined here by Jan and Kendi, and we have Emily down in the on the end. I was going to say in the corner. You're not in the corner.
Not quite.
But,
not yet. Right.
She's got her punching gloves on.
I'm ready though.
Awesome. So Emily's going to be our first guest today. She works with the media. She travels the United States and kind of follows the rodeos, mainly, right? And does a lot of interviews down in Vegas and whatnot. But we're just going to, and then we're going to let you stick around for the whole show just because you have a lot of knowledge about other topics that we're going to talk about today too. So we thought we'd just let you hang out for the whole day, see how you like it.
Sounds good to me.
So,
I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So how was everybody's day today?
Awesome. Tops down on the convertible. It's not cold like yesterday. Loving it.
Right?
Yeah, it is gorgeous. You know, it's funny. I thought I had a hair appointment this morning, so I woke up bright and early, went down, and I was sitting in the parking lot. I'm like, where is my hairdresser? And I called her, and she's like, that's next week. I'm like,
oh dear.
Oh.
So that was a good start to my day. So
Yeah.
but it is beautiful.
It is. Finally.
Yes.
So Emily,
Nice.
welcome to the show. Why don't you just kind of start off, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm, like I said before, been in Mandan my whole life pretty much. I'm a native North Dakotan. I went to college in Bismarck and then over to Dickinson State.
What did you major in?
I have a degree in ag business marketing is technically what it's in. So pretty vast, pretty wide array. I was that girl that thought I was going to be a vet, and then that didn't work out. So they told me I had to go to school for 8 years. I was like, no, that's okay. So then I kind of did the marketing side, and that's really what I enjoy. And so just I think the biggest thing is being able to talk to people, help people tell their stories has kind of always been what's intrigued me in this industry. And so I've kind of had a couple different means of doing that, and one being working with the Cowboy Channel. So that's kind of been a recent thing. I have a couple of my really good friends work for them, and so they've kind of brought me on, and I've kind of got to be a jack of all trades for them. And mainly just kind of on their media piece, doing interviews, talking to cowboys, talking to ranchers, helping behind the scenes, getting interviews set up, just their social media, kind of everything. So it's been very exciting, very fun. Got to see a lot of cool country, meet a lot of cool people too. So.
Oh, wonderful.
So were you involved in rodeo at all before that?
So I've never personally rodeoed, but just my friends and family, kind of following them around and growing up around it, is kind of fell in love with it. But I've never personally done it, but just been blessed to be around it my whole life.
So what's been the most fun interview you've ever done?
Honestly, that would be hard to say. I know. I don't know. It's really hard. I don't know if I could pick a favorite, honestly. I like the versatility that kind of everyone brings to the table. Like, no interview is ever the same to me. And I think I don't think I could pick a favorite, honestly. Yeah.
Interesting.
That reminds me, when Claire was down at Nationals for the high school rodeo, there's always that question answer of the judges. She was running for queen. Yeah. And they said, well, why do you want to do this? She said, just go out, have fun, see everybody, and who knows, you might get to meet Tough Cooper. And it's like, so seriously. And so that night she's at the rodeo, and guess who's there?
Tough Cooper.
Tough Cooper. And guess who she gets to interview? Tough Cooper. And so then the
awesome.
American Hat Company had her do a quick little interview too. So it was super sweet. One of our friends, Tammy Backus, had actually helped Claire get that. So it was just kind of fun. Dreams do come true, right? Yeah. But you have a lot of friends that are in the Western world. A lot of your really good friends are barrel racers, aren't they?
Yeah, a lot of my really close friends have been barrel racers from little on, and so I've got to follow them around, and that's helped me meet a lot of people. And I think the biggest takeaway is that those big name people like Tough Cooper, they're normal. I mean, we put them on like this pedestal that they're this fancy person, but they're so down to earth. They will have a conversation with you, and that's kind of been something really cool to see, is that they're these big name people, but they're people just the same. So it's been fun to see.
That actually reminds me, I was reading a book by Brene Brown, and she was talking about how she had to make this presentation, and it was before all these really famous people, and she was just like, oh my gosh. She was like, they're just people. And so we all are just people, and that pedestal thing is real, but really we're just people.
Yeah, I think that's awesome to see, just in today's world, to just be like, we're all in the same playing field.
Yep.
It
Totally.
is. I think we've kind of found that out when we were in Dallas a couple
Agreed.
weeks ago.
Agreed.
You know, we're sitting there having a conversation with Sydney Powell, just like,
That's awesome.
you know, like we're sitting
we're
right
doing
here.
right here.
And she has agreed to do an interview here, but she does have the month of June off. So sometime in July, we'll get Sydney Powell on. She promised to be on, and she's actually wearing Fred Rios's beaded hat pin, so that's pretty cool too.
Awesome.
Yeah. So where are some of the places that it's taken you besides Vegas? Have you?
Yeah.
Do you do Dallas, or did you do the NFR last year when it was moved to Dallas?
Yep, so I did the NFR when it was in Texas this last year. So I was there from the end of November, like the whole month of December. So that was really fun. So yeah, I've got to be in Texas. And then we went back to Texas during the American. I've got to be in places like Salt Lake City, Deadwood, you know, some of those bigger places and that kind of thing. So I've definitely got to see a lot of cool places, a lot of behind the scenes. You know, I've been a lot of those places beforehand, but just seeing them on the backside of these big events and the crowds that it draws, it's pretty amazing.
And it is amazing when those big events happen. It's just people. A lot of them are volunteers
Oh,
that
absolutely.
put those huge events on.
It is, and it's hugely volunteer driven, and the hours that people put in. And we always say that people don't get recognition for, you know, what they do, but it's just crazy to see firsthand the hours and the work that goes into things like that. You don't really think about it until you're, you know, there and experiencing it. So.
Thinking a couple things. Claire is your daughter, right?
Indeed,
For
yes.
the viewers that don't
Yep.
know, and NFR is National Finals.
Rodeo.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
We,
It's like the
you know,
Super
we
Bowl
all do that
rodeo,
in every
basically.
industry. We all use acronyms all the time,
That is
and then
true.
we forget that not everybody is in the same industry, and we might not know. So,
Right.
just throwing it out there to see if I had it right.
They're very good, very good. So,
Perfect.
all right. So you say you work behind the scenes too. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do? Do you arrange interviews, or what is it that you do?
Yeah, so sometimes it's like finding an athlete who just won his event or something like that and getting them to their interview, or it's finding another individual who needs to be interviewed, or it's taking little clips and recording pieces on your cell phone, taking pictures, that kind of stuff, even behind the scenes, just basically, you know, whatever needs being done. Sometimes it's just being that body that can help get something done. So it's also very humbling work because you do kind of get to do a little bit of everything. You know, that's fun too.
And so when you're not doing that type of stuff, media work, what do you do for the rest of your career or the rest of your daytime?
Basically, so full-time I work for, it's called Mid-Continent Livestock Supplements. So we sell and manufacture low-moisture molasses slick tubs. And so I cover North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, a little bit of Wyoming, Canada, and then Minnesota as well. And so basically I'm a sales rep for them. I go out, I work with feed stores, I work with ranchers, kind of just getting the word out, helping sell our products, just kind of a knowledge book about our product as well. So that's what I do, technically Monday through Friday.
So do you do the trade shows too then?
Yep, yeah, I attend a lot of trade shows, and that's kind of what's nice about the Cowboy Channel piece is a lot of times they're tied together. I can be at a rodeo working for the Cowboy Channel, but also working full-time for MLS, talking to ranchers that are there. It's very much the same crowd base, so that's very nice that they work well together.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, coming up next, we're going to have Corbitt Wall join us, and he does the Feeder Flash, and maybe you've heard of him, but he is very entertaining. He gives the reports in an entertaining way, and I know you've heard of him before, and maybe you ladies haven't, but hang on, because it's not just about the cattle producers. We're going to talk about the consumers and the problems that they're running into right now with the price of beef. So that's coming up next after these messages on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
If you don't know what's going on in education in this country, then you don't know what's going to happen in the future of this country. And it's important. I'm Dr. Duke.
And I'm Katie.
Watch the Dr. Duke Show weekdays at 4 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after hours oasis of sanity. How can these people not see that they're just clowns?
We help simplify and educate you on things going on in the legislature and around the country.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
But also having Lee Stack and Sid and Marty Croft stuff, and we've talked about that sometimes. It's bad.
Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We are ready for our second segment, and hang on to your seats, ladies. It's going to be a good one, the next 3 segments. But I want to welcome Corbitt to the show. Corbitt Wall is a feeder market reporter for DV Auction out of Texas. He runs the Feeder Flash, very entertaining to give the market reports, to say the least. And so today we're joined here with Jan and Kendi and Emily. And Emily knows of you and does quite a bit with the livestock industry as well. So it's great that we can all be here together. So welcome, Corbitt.
I'm glad to be here. I feel like I'm on outnumbered on the Fox News channel.
Well, it's funny you say that, because Trent Luce has been our guest a couple of times, and he's actually been in studio, and he said we need to rename it to Ladies of Another View and a Dude. And so if you want to go with that today, we can work with that too. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Corbitt.
Okay, well, I grew up, of course, my father was in the cattle business, and my dad wasn't a rancher. We never had we weren't lucky enough to have ever had a ranch. My dad was a sale barn trader, actually, which is a bad word now. It didn't used to be a bad word when he did it, but he went to about 6 sales a week, and you know, just picked up whatever he thought was cheap and did that. And it was always a treat to see him, his pickup and trailer lights come down the road, because you never knew what he was going to unload. And so I'd run out to help him unload those, and then in the summertime I'd get to go with him. He evolved as he got older, and I got older, as a cattle buyer in the country. He never was an order buyer per se, but he bought cattle and resold them, and we ran cattle on wheat and on grass and took care of those, and we had a sale barn for a while, and I learned how to auctioneer, and that's kind of how I grew up. I went to college at West Texas A&M because that's where all the girls were at, and I had to have something to do. And so
Nice.
and eventually I had so much education, and then my dad's health started failing him, that it was just better off for me to go get a job. And I got a job with USDA Ag Marketing Service. And I did that for about 18 years before I joined DV Auction Crew and became the market analyst for them.
So getting back to your roots, to go ahead and buy some cattle and just raise them for a little bit and sell them. You can't do that anymore. I mean, it just seems that that market is absolutely gone.
Yeah, that you can't fade the shrink and the commission anymore to do something like that, Mary. And a lot of your sale barns, for good reason, you know, they won't allow trader cattle much anymore because a lot of the traders, you know, they let them get stale and they let them sit around and you don't know where all they come from, and your buyers are going to have trouble with them. So you just don't see many places that they do that anymore.
So why don't you just kind of tell us some hope? Is there any hope for the cattle producers right now? What does the market look like for cattle producers as we sit today?
As we sit today, I'm pretty excited about the cattle market. You know, I know in the whole scheme of things, and we're probably going to address that at some point, we've got a lot of challenges in front of us. But as we sit right now, I'm very excited about it. This year right here, 2021, as far as your supplies and the way we're marketing cattle and our drought situation and things, it's looking so much like 2012 that it's scary. And you guys know what happened just a short time after 2012. We had all-time record high cattle prices. So I'm not saying that fat cattle are going to get back to 172 or that your 500-pound steers are going to be bringing $3.50. But I do believe that we're going to see significantly higher prices for all classes of cattle coming up within the next 1 to 3 years.
So then, with that being said, who's going to make the money? Is the producer going to make the money, do you think? Or are the packers going to make a little bit more money? Or the feeder? Where's that money going?
Well, your packers are going to make money. There's no doubt about that. You know, they've got the complete control of this industry. But I do think there will be some margin for, you know, a backgrounder that grows cattle from weaning, or when they sell the calves, if they're weaned calves, up to a feeder weight. I think people that buy feeder cattle and feed them out, which most of those guys, you know, are well vested with the packer. You don't see people typically just going out and buying cattle on the open market just to put them in the feedlot unless they own the feedlot. And I think your cow-calf man's going to see a bigger return. Whether it's going to be enough to offset higher input costs, I'm not sure. But you know, the prices are going to be higher.
So, considering city dwellers that are not educated in this business, can you kind of walk our viewers through a little bit of, you know, you have cattle on the farm or the ranch, depending upon what you're doing. Next process is what?
Well, you need to make a decision on whether you're going to grow those calves to a heavier weight. You've got your cows, and most people that have ranches have cows and bulls to produce their calves, and then they go through the calving process, and then they take those calves and they get them you know, raised up. Of course, if you live in a brand state, you've got to get them branded. You've got to you know, give them all their vaccinations and everything and get them healthy and as nice calves as you have. Then it's your decision on when you want to market those. Some people will market them at a lightweight and maybe just right off the cow. Some people that have the facilities and the room and the ability to do it will take those calves to a higher level of work and a higher level of preconditioning, and then they will wean those calves. Some of them will revaccinate them, so then they'll be double shot weaned calves, and they'll yield a higher price. But you will usually sell those calves at some point. Some people have their genetics so good that they you know, their calves are weighing 700 or 800 pounds by the time they sell them. Well, then they've taken out a middleman there, because you know, those calves don't have any room for a backgrounder to take them and grow them to a bigger weight. They've got to go right into the feedlot at that point. Now, those calves would not be as attractive to a cattle feeder because they haven't been out on their own and been away for a long enough period of time. But so you just have to decide, if you've got the room, you got the grass, maybe you want to wean those cattle and then turn them out away from their mothers and let them kind of turn into more of a yearling type product, that's where you can yield some better prices there. But most people run as many cows as they can, and then they sell the calves.
All right, so we got so much, and I think you meant, like, how does it get to the counter, to the meat counter?
Well, yeah, a lot of people in the city are thinking that, you know, cows are manufactured in a grocery store,
Yeah, well,
you know.
we can do that. Yeah, I'm usually just talking about the cattle end, but we take cattle, we put them into a feedlot, because here in this country we're used to eating sweet meat, and that's grain-fed meat, and so we take those into a feedlot and they're fed grain for usually about 150 days from the time you put them in. Then they will go to a packer, and that is a tough marketing option right in there, going to the packer. But the packer will slaughter and process that meat, and then it will go out as a boxed beef product. Then we call them boxed beef because they found that it's a lot cheaper with freight and everything to cut those sides of beef into something that will fit a box, and then they can ship those much easier. They will go to wholesalers. Your wholesalers will sell them out to retailers, whether it's food service or if it's a supermarket. And then if the local butcher in your supermarket will put those out on display for you.
Wonderful. All right, so we're going to have to take a quick break right now, and we have so much more to talk about because we also have competition with fake meat, and we have environmentalists, and we have so much to battle against. But that'll be coming up right after this on Ladies of Another View on Beck. With a
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me. We'll cover local and national stories that impact you. What happens with national debt? Does anybody even care anymore? Do you think Governor Burgum truly understands the legislative process?
You know, I think he's got a better understanding now than he did 2 years ago.
Why in the world are we having a conversation about being anti-vaccination? Down the road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car! How will we? The car! Your offer has been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing. But how will we? The closing!
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck with a dude today. We have Corbitt Wall joining us from Texas. He is a feeder market reporter with DV Auctions. So welcome back to the program, Corbitt. We're going to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about something that we have all heard about. Some call it frankenmeat. But let's talk about alternative proteins, as some like to call it, or fake meat, as some of us like to call it. What do you think that's doing for the cattle market right now?
Well, it's definitely not helping it. What's frustrating is all of your major beef packers are heavily invested in fake meat. So it goes to show you that they really don't care about our particular industry, which is beef or pork or any other product. They just want to maintain their percentage of protein sales. And so they're heavily invested in fake meat. And it hasn't gotten to economies of scale yet to where it can really compete. But when it does, look out. It's going to be as bad or worse than the fake dairy products on the dairy industry.
Wow. That's nasty.
Yeah. You know, we were talking during the break about the whole fake meat idea. And, you know, that I had been, and please don't judge me, viewers, for this. I did it for health reasons, but I transitioned more to a vegan type lifestyle. And I would occasionally use those fake meat products, but I realized, especially last year with everything with COVID, Bill Gates is one of the big pushers behind the whole fake meat industry. And I remember the day I ate an Impossible burger at Burger King, and that was the day I found out Bill Gates was behind that. It physically made me ill that night. Not so much what I had eaten, but who was behind it. And so my whole view on it has shifted. I've gone back to eating meat and supporting that. I don't know if you have anything you want to say in regards to Bill Gates or those people who are kind of pushing this, but there is a movement and it's real and it's growing. The momentum behind it is just, it's increasing.
Well, it seems like a coincidence that Bill Gates is also recently became the largest owner of farmland in this country, and that he would want to push some type of a plant-based meat product. But you know, if you've gone to some of these cattle producer meetings and things and seen some of the literature that's out on the fake meat products, they will show you two slides, and they will ask you which slide is representative of the ingredients in fake meat and which slide is representative of the ingredients in dog food, and they're absolutely the same. You can't pick them out because they have exactly the same ingredients. So if that's what somebody wants to eat is dog food, they might as well open up a can of Alpo and get a plastic spoon and just go to town, because that's what they're eating. and your fake meat promoters are not hanging their hat on the fact that it's more healthy, because it's been proven that it's not more healthy. So that's why they've had to hang their hat on the fact that it's saving the earth, you know, because of cow farts and things like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So it does take us back to the environmentalists. That's another thing that we wanted to touch on, about how they're claiming that the cattle are ruining the environment, but yet, you know, even for thousands of years, the buffalo roamed and damaged the prairies even more so than what cattle are doing now. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, there's actually some studies out there, and I've seen the early signs of those. And they're being done in the Great Northwest out there, and Western Justice is in kind of involved in that. But they have found some researchers that it looks like, in the whole scheme of things, that cattle are actually a net zero polluter to this country. You know, even taking into account the you know, their farts and burps and all that kind of thing, because whenever forage goes dormant, it lets off you know, a lot of things that are harmful to the environment, and cattle are eating that off. So, you know, they were showing me, and it was interesting to look at, on how they were actually net zero because of the way that they kind of managed the countryside with them. So, I didn't realize that you know, there's you know, things that are harmful to your ozone layer and stuff that comes off of grass whenever it goes dormant. So we better have a cow eating it, and then we can eat the cows.
There you go. So I guess I never realized that part, but I do know that our corn belt actually produces more. It's better for the environment than what the rainforest is what I have read recently. And so that's interesting. We're growing that corn to feed our cattle.
Interesting.
I hadn't heard that either. That's interesting.
Yep.
But you know, if they keep telling us something over and over and over again, like they do with a lot of things in politics nowadays, the public eventually is going to swallow it hook, line, and sinker. And I think that's part of the problem with the pseudo meat, or whatever we're calling it these days, impossible to eat burger or whatever.
Yeah, I've had that impossible to eat burger. I was tickled with my daughter, my daughter that just graduated high school. She was on an FFA trip, and the bus driver started to pull into a Burger King when they were doing the big promotion on the Impossible Burger, and she says, no, we're not stopping here. All
right.
Go on to the next place, and a lot of the other kids felt the same way. The thing that scares me, though, is the plant-based meat, fake meat product is not as good as what's on its way, which will be like the blood germ type of a product that they grow in a petri dish. That product is superior tasting and is more like real meat. And so they haven't gotten that to economies of scale yet, but when they do, it's going to be a better product for somebody that doesn't care. But the heck of it is, they're not going to say all the growth promotants and things that they have to put into it to get to take off, because how else are you going to get something to grow in a petri dish? But they've said that it is far superior to the plant-based fake meat products.
And so will it chew like real meat too then, more so?
We don't, right now, Mary, we don't have to worry about them attacking our demand for ribeyes and things like that, because they cannot replicate the consistency and the fibrous nature of a steak. It's all going to be a ground product. But now you see them using some type of technology where they like Xerox off, you know, of something that's supposed to look like a steak, but it's really just ground pea mash with a whole bunch of fake flavorings in it, and then they use something just to streak it to make it look like it has marbling in it.
Well, so do the farmers have an issue with the ranchers regarding, you know, we want to grow peas and canola and all this kind of stuff for these things, and no, you want the original great tasting, great texture.
45 minutes or 45 seconds.
Hold it against them. It's just the processors of the product, and it's the same processors that are buying the beef. So, you know, they're kind of in a tough spot. What's frustrating is we can't use our checkoff dollars to advertise against the fake and what's in it.
That's too bad, because I think a commercial where you showed someone like eating an Impossible Burger and then opening up a can of dog food would be like convincing, like, I'm not going to eat that, right?
That would make you rethink it, wouldn't it?
It did, honestly.
All right, so we're going to have to take a quick break, but coming up next, we're going to talk to Corbitt some more about maybe the PAWS Act and what consumers to do, and maybe reaching out to our senators, because there's a big hearing in D.C. this week. That's right after this on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me. We'll cover local and national stories that impact you. What happens with national debt? Does anybody even care anymore? Do you think Governor Burgum truly understands the legislative process?
You know, I think he's got a better understanding now than he did 2 years ago.
Why in the world are we having a conversation about being anti-vaccination? Down the road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck with a dude today again, and we love that. Welcome back, Corbitt Wall. We were just, when we left off at the last segment, we were just kind of talking about maybe what the environmentalists are up to, and there's a big deal going on, or there was a big deal going on in Colorado called the Pause Act. And Emily, you had pointed out that there's something similar going on in another state?
Yeah, in Oregon up there, they have a very similar act in place, and they're trying to push it through right now. It's in the beginning phases, but again, it pretty much mimics what the Pause Act, what Colorado was able to push aside. So hopefully Oregon can do the same.
Okay, so take it away, Corbitt. Just tell us what the Pause Act is about.
Well, you know, people are trying to kind of use the general public's emotions about animal welfare, and they have tried to push this initiative 16, I believe it is, through and put it on a ballot to vote on to actually outlaw many of our common practices raising livestock, and most of them are just basic reproductive management, because they are animals. It's no different than spaying and neutering your dogs, but they didn't include pets in this thing. But they're running off people's emotions, trying to outlaw such things as artificial insemination, which is really crucial, especially if you're wanting to improve the genetics of your herd. You know, even just castration of our bulls to make steers. You know, if all of our male cattle were bulls, you know, you would have a tough time chewing that product. So, you know, it's really tough, because what we eat is the muscle, and of course, the more testosterone you have going through that, the tougher it's going to be. But luckily, they weren't very smart whenever they wrote up the initiative, and it's very important, especially in Colorado, that you use a single subject, that you just go after one particular thing, and they had changed the language in there, trying to play off people's emotions and really hide what they were trying to do with that initiative, and it did not pass the test, and went to Supreme Court of Colorado and got voted down unanimously 7-0. So we don't have to worry about it for a while, but like one of your panelists said, it's coming in other states also.
Right, right. So, part of it, and just for our viewers, they had thought that artificial insemination was like raping cattle. And it's like, my goodness. I mean, here is a simple straw that's inserted, okay, versus maybe a 2,000-pound bull jumping on a cow. I mean, there'd be a little bit of pain involved. So actually, it's kinder to the animals. I mean, that's just one aspect, but...
Well, it's just crazy because you think of, I mean, they even do it for humans. I mean, people pay tons of money to have babies. I mean, give me, a freaking break. This is stupid. Stupid.
Even humans need reproductive management, or we would for bills,
Yeah,
So,
amen.
Especially the animals, they have to have it. So.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening in D.C. this week.
Okay. Very excited about what's going on in D.C. this week. We've been trying to get some legislation pushed through to help our competition and bring what's going on with the struggles in our beef industry and so many of our ranchers in our rural part of America are having a tough time making it. And we've finally got the ear of Washington, D.C., and we're actually going to have a Senate Ag Committee hearing on Wednesday. And we're going to talk about the struggles of the cattle industry. And it's very exciting. And I can't wait to see how it goes and what comes of it.
Okay, so our own Senator Hoeven is actually on that committee, and he will be in that hearing. And so if any of the consumers have an issue, I mean, why don't you explain a little bit more about the price of beef that the consumer is paying versus what the producer or the feeder is making? Kind of explain that.
Sure. We've had 3 black swan events over the last 3 years, starting in 2019 with a fire at a major beef processing plant in Kansas, and folks got to thinking that there weren't going to be enough, there wasn't going to be enough beef available because we had lost that processing facility. But in fact, every week after that, for several months, we had larger cattle harvest than we had had before the fire. But the packers still used that as an excuse to inflate the wholesale beef prices, which got handed down to the consumers eventually. And then we came back in a little over a year ago with the struggles that we had with the initial onset of COVID-19. And we were having a hard time keeping frontline workers on the line to work. And indeed, they were having a tough time getting the product processed. Another opportunity for your packers to inflate the price. And then you had housewives, going in and panic buying and fighting over a package of hamburger meat. And then that just caused the gouging to get worse and worse. But none of that was ever handed down to your beef producers. So we've seen the latest one, which was the cyber attack on JBS. And they used that for yet another opportunity to inflate prices on the wholesalers, which hands down to the consumers, and still none of that ever dribbles back to your cattle producers. So we've gotten to the point where during the worst of the pandemic, we saw your packers making well over $2,000 a head, as much as $2,500 for every animal of beef that they were slaughtering, and your cattle producers losing money on that. And your cattle producers owning the cattle for a year and a half up to 2 years, and your packers only owning them for maybe 4 days or to a week. And it's just not fair. But that's what happens whenever you get a monopoly going. And we've got to do something to straighten this out, or our rural economy is going to continue to dwindle.
So Corbitt, do you have an idea, like, how do we solve this problem? I mean, I'm thinking we boycott those producers, but how do you even go about doing? I mean, can you?
The
or
packers.
Not the packers, not the producers. Thank you.
Well, you could boycott them, but you're going to get hungry eventually.
Well, okay, so what's the answer? How do we solve this?
The answer that I believe that we need to do is the USDA and the Department of Justice have to come in there and make sure that we have a level playing field again. starting in 1921, we had a Packers and Stockyards Act that set out rules for a level playing field, good competition and things. And that's back whenever our cattle were all sold in your river market stockyards. And as we got away from that and started moving out to our big commercial feedlots further out west, they got away from enforcing those rules. So they quit enforcing those rules. And then over the years, that's just what's led into this problem that we're into right now, where we have a complete monopoly. And then you have these major corporate feed yards that get into these sweetheart deals with the packer. And by the time they're done doing their sweetheart deals, the packers have over 80% of their needs already filled. And so they don't have to go out to the smaller producers and really try very hard to negotiate for the cattle. Yet the price that they negotiate on those few cattle is the base price for the sweetheart deals. And it's just unfair. And we've got some legislation. We've got 2 bills before the Senate, and we got an accompanying bill with one of them in the House to mandate a minimum percentage of those finished cattle sales to be negotiated.
Okay, and so we might take an extra minute on this segment just to explain what we can do as a consumer. Should they reach out to the senators? I mean, who do they need to contact to try to, what can the consumer do on the basic level?
On the basic level, you know, if you feel strongly about this, sure, you can contact your local lawmaker and tell them that that you're worried about competition in the protein industry because it's leading to higher prices and more expensive to feed your family. You know, I tell people, if they're really worried about that, to embrace some of their local meat lockers. And that's where you can find home-raised, wholesome product right there that come from you know, local producers, and you don't have to worry about it being something from Uruguay that's been repackaged and ends up having a label on it that says you know, product of the USA due to loopholes in the system.
Yep. There are a lot of local producers that are farm to market in our area, so we're very fortunate here, but I know Chicago or Minneapolis or San Francisco, it might not be the same.
Sure, right.
Yeah. Right. That is a really good suggestion. It's a great way that we can support local business.
Absolutely, amen. Well, Corbitt, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And you hang in there down in Texas. Yeah, no, and come see us again sometime, all right?
Pleasure.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Take care.
Thank you. Coming up next, we're going to have our lighter side, and we're going to talk a little bit about the summer solstice again. That's coming up next on Ladies of a View on Back.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel, from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with 1 truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after-hours oasis of sanity.
How can these people not see that they're just clowns?
We help simplify and educate you on things going on in the legislature and around the country.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
But also having flea stack and Sid and Marty Croft stuff, and we've talked about that sometimes. It's bad.
Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. You know, and I know not all our viewers know about the cattle industry, but what we're fighting for is a fair market price for the people that put the work into it. Instead of some of these people, the packers will make $2,000 a head and they own the cattle for 4 days. We might make $800 or $1,000 a head, and you keep it for a year, and you feed it, and you take care of it, and you grow silage for it. So that's where the disparity is. There's figures out there that say that the producers actually make about 1%, and the packers and feeders make over 1,000%. So it's just absolutely insane and crazy. But I don't want to talk about that. Well, if you want to check out Corbitt Wald, check him out on his website. He has the feeder flash, and it gets to be pretty entertaining sometimes. Today was especially entertaining on his feeder flash. But we're going to talk about summer solstice. We started yesterday. Jan, you were here yesterday.
We did.
It was the longest day of the year yesterday, and
in many ways.
And today's longer. It was shorter. But do you remember anything as a kid? You know, in the long hot summer days or the long summer nights, what are your guys' memories?
Well, there was 5 kids at home, and my folks would load us all into the vehicle. A lot of times it was just a 2-door vehicle, and
no air conditioning.
No. Well, sometimes yes, sometimes no, but we would pack lunches and the whole bit, and we'd take off for Wisconsin. So it wasn't like an hour and a half drive to go to a lake or something. We were going back home to see family. So, awesome. You know, we have lots of memories of all the different rest stops that we stopped at, the parks that we played in, animals that we fed along the way with stuff we didn't want to eat. Yeah, lots of fun stuff like that I won't ever forget.
Amen.
Yeah, so I have so many memories too of summer and just being a kid, and oh gosh, I wish I could be a kid again.
Right? They always want to grow up, and then when you do, it's like,
I know, it just goes so fast. But you know, I'm super simple. I still am, but I would lay in the front yard just in the sunshine and close my eyes for hours and just like soak it up. But I also live next to my grandparents.
Slathered in baby oil
or
no?
No. You know, my daughter sprays Pam spray on her now, so
that's how you get a good tan, I guess.
But anyway, my grandparents, I live next to them, and they had a really good hill in their yard, and we would just get black plastic and put a hose on that, and we'd do slip and slide on that thing all the time. So, yeah, you don't have to have much to have a really good summer.
Right? And I think that kind of like growing up, we would go camping all the time, and I mean, we had a camper, so we weren't completely roughing it in a tent or anything, but I mean, you don't have electricity, and you're just kind of doing whatever you want to do. You're outside all the time, you're playing tag, you're playing hide and seek, you're staying away from your parents, and I mean, but all within, you know, you're just outside, and there's really no rules, and you can just be a kid and do whatever you want and just enjoy being outside. I think that's my biggest, you know, memory growing up is you're outside as long as you possibly could be.
We just had to be home by the time the street lights came on.
Yes. Oh yeah,
that was the rule.
Well, I remember too, when I was growing up, we grew up north of here on the river, and we would stay outside until the coyotes started howling, and I always was afraid of coyotes because my sisters used to make me watch dark shadows
yes,
of the
Barnabas
wolf.
Collins.
Barnabas Collins, yes.
Yes.
And so I thought the coyotes were gonna eat me and stuff. And so the minute I heard a coyote, boom, ran to the house. Into the house I went. But those long summer nights where you see the fireflies, you catch fireflies, or you just watch the stars.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, that's a memory I have. So, you know, I was a little girl in Idaho. And I mean, I still remember the night sky. I mean, you just don't see it like that very much anymore.
No.
You really have to get away from the city to see it. But yeah, the stars were unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I saw my first firefly this past weekend.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
in Minnesota, not here. But yeah, the sky is much more expansive when you're away from the city.
It is. And even right here in Bismarck, Mandan, if you go north of town at night, you can see the northern stars, or the northern lights, I should say. Really, they put on a pretty show. But yeah, and so a lot of people don't know it because of the light pollution that we have. You don't see that. And
It does make a difference.
It does. But we're so blessed to have 4 seasons right here in North Dakota.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
And so when we have
we can
these...
have all 4 of them in 1 week.
Yes, sometimes we do.
One day, maybe.
Sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, heater in the morning, air conditioner in the afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah. I used the heater on the way to work here yesterday, but interesting. But no, it's just those, I have a couple nephews up in Alaska, so they are, quite long days in the summer, but then in the winter, all the long dark days. We're just kind of blessed to be right in between, and
We
so
are, yeah.
it gets dark about 10 o'clock up here, and it's kind
Which
of
is a long
fantastic.
day in
It is.
comparison to people who live in the South. I mean,
Yeah.
it's dark at 8 o'clock there.
Right.
So,
True.
Kind of all year round, though. So we fluctuate from 5 o'clock p.m. to about 10 o'clock p.m. in the middle of winter to the middle of summer. So it's wonderful. So if you've never been to North Dakota, you guys need to check it out.
Yeah,
But we do want to thank you for joining us. It's been an interesting day with an interesting topic. But if there's anything you guys want to talk about, you just let us know what that is. But we'll see you next time on Ladies of Another View on Beck.